And so I don't know how relevant it may be for your own jobs, but let me try and get on with it. So at IIT Kanpur, we divide our programs into two parts. One portion which we call as an undergrad institution. As you may know, history of IITs, IITs started off with a need to train people in engineering at a BTech level. And that was the primary goal of IITs when they came into existence. And slowly over a period of time, IITs also ventured into postgraduate education by starting MTech and PhD programs. So currently at IIT Kanpur, we have a undergrad student strength of about 4,000 students. This is spread over all 4 years. And we have about postgraduate students in different programs, which is about 2,700. These numbers are plus minus 10, 15 or something. Primarily the BTech, the UG programs which we have are the BTech degrees in engineering. We have BS programs in sciences, economic sciences, and so on. We also have dual degree programs. And as part of legacy, we also have some 2-year programs in sciences, basically in physics, chemistry, maths, and statistics, in which we take people coming in after doing their graduation. And they come in and join with the BS students who come through JEE. So largely these students to the undergrad program are admitted through the JEE exam. It's a 2-tier exam in which people who qualify in class 12 in physics, chemistry, maths, they are able to appear for an exam which is conducted by CBSE, which is called as the JEE mains. And subsequent to that exam, a certain percentage of these students are allowed to appear for an advanced level exam, which is called as a JEE advanced exam. So about 12 lakh people all over the country appear for the JEE mains exam, out of which about 2 lakh people are shortlisted and are made eligible to appear for the JEE advanced exam. And for the MSc 2-year program and the dual degree program, the admission is again through a national level exam which is called as JAM. It's a joint admission test which is held by different IITs by rotation. And for the PG part, as most of you would have already done an MTech degree, we take students who have qualified GATE for MTech, and for PhD it could be either GATE or could be NET, which is conducted by UGC CSIR. And for MBA program, we take students who have qualified through CAT, which is conducted by IIMS. So our UG, let me first tell you a little bit about our UG program. Our UG program is a highly flexible program, which is a credit-based program. So a student, there is a lot of flexibility in the program that the student did not complete a certain number of courses. He has to only complete certain number of credits which he earns towards that degree. So this allows a student to graduate even in less than 4 years. So we have had cases in last couple of years where a student is able to graduate in 3.5 years. And so in terms of academic load, typically a student over his entire 4-year BTech program does 400 credits. So 400 credits roughly approximately over 4 years. So typically he ends up doing 50 credits in a semester. We have a system in which annually we have 2 semesters which run from end of July to end of November, and there is another semester which runs from January to April end. So these are 2 regular semesters. Apart from this, we also have a summer term in which these 4 months are squeezed into 2 months, and you end up doing, suppose you have a backlog or you have a certain requirement which you need to fulfill as part of your next semester, you can do these courses in summer and fulfill those credit requirements to meet those prerequisites. And yeah. So BTech is offered across 9 departments. As Professor Upadhyay is from aerospace, we have the most recent departments in which we have started a BTech is in biological sciences, and there is a mistake in this that there is no BTech in industrial and management engineering, but okay. So you have BTech in covering almost the entire gamut of engineering disciplines, and there are, of course, different streams within that each of these branches, which like for instance, some of you may be wondering that biological sciences would also have, for instance, biomedical engineering and stuff like that. And civil also has portions like environmental engineering and structures engineering and so on. So what I have listed is the traditional way of writing departments, and electrical engineering, for instance, also includes communication. And yeah, and we also have computer science and engineering, and IIT Kanpur was possibly one of the earliest ones to start this program. In sciences, we have very active groups in chemistry, economics, earth science, mathematics and scientific computing, and physics. And you would be surprised to know that mathematics and scientific computing is one of the most popular programs at IIT Kanpur. If you look at the JEE ranking cutoffs, the JEE ranking closing and opening ranks of mathematics and scientific computing are better than even mechanical engineering. So it's somehow it has developed a reputation over the years that it's a very good program. And earth sciences is something which we started just 2 years back. It's an offshoot which has come out of civil engineering. And see, nowadays there is a lot of effort towards exploring, like for instance, people who work on river management, people who work on conservation of rivers, and also stuff like geological sciences. They all come under earth sciences, which now has become a very strong branch in itself and possibly has a lot of opportunities for students. We, as part of our UG program, earlier we used to have programs which used to be 4-year program and 5 years program, that a person coming in for a BTech program could choose at the time of joining that he wants to do an integrated BTech plus MTech program, or he wants to do an integrated MSc program. But in 2011, after we reviewed our courses, we realized that let's make all our programs into a 4-year program, because at the time of joining a program, a 12th pass student doesn't have an idea that he wants to do a post-graduation right away. So what we offer is that after a student has spent some time in our system, we allow him to do a switch to a postgraduate program. So a person who has spent 2 years, 3 years here can choose that I would also want to continue into a MTech program and get an additional degree of MTech by spending one more extra year on campus. So instead of a program which would have taken 6 years for him to complete, now he can do it in 5 years. And we also offer lot of flexibility in terms of what programs he can do. For instance, a person can do a BTech in mechanical, but he can get a MTech in some other branch. He, depending on his background, it's also possible for him to do a MTech in computer science. It's possible for a BTech in chemical engineering to do a BS or a MS in chemistry. Like for instance, now the boundaries between different branches are highly blurred. For instance, if you are an electrical engineer and you want to work on nanoelectronics, you would want a person with a chemistry background, somebody who has a good background on organic chemistry, who can help me build some of these structures from bottom up. So this also allows cross-fertilization of ideas in which people with different backgrounds can come and use their expertise for an area which is totally different than their own core areas. So we allow an entire cocktail of subjects. So you can do a BS and you can do a Master of Design after that. You can also do an MBA with a BTech by spending an extra year. So instead of going out and doing an MBA separately for another 2 years, you can complete an MBA in 1 year. And so we have a lot of flexibility in these programs, which was initiated in post 2011 when we started this. Another flexibility which our program allows, the UG program allows, is that, see, a lot of times when we choose branches after we start doing college is a lot by peer pressure, what our parents tell us to do, what maybe a lot of our friends are intending to do, we are governed by that. Like, if my friend is doing computer science, let me also do computer science. It doesn't matter whether I have an interest in computer science or not. So, if the system is very rigid, in which if you are stuck with computer science, you are stuck with computer science for next 4 years, it would be a pity to do that, because these are extremely bright students and you don't want them to suffer because of that. So our system also allows students to switch branches. So a person who's coming in for, say, electrical engineering, and after 1 year he decides that I want to do computer science, he can move into computer science. It's a highly competitive process, in which doesn't mean that everybody who's interested in moving to computer science can move to computer science. But there are opportunities. If a student has done well in the first year, he has opportunity. If he doesn't succeed, he can try again after second year. And it's possible that he may succeed. And if he has done extremely well in the coursework, there is a strong likelihood that he will be allowed to change the branch. And we also allow people to specialize in areas in which they are interested in by doing a minor. For instance, a person can do a basket of 3 or 4 courses in some other department and get a minor degree in that department. See, for instance, like I can give, since I am from physics, I can give you an example of physics. For joining our master's program in physics, it's a requirement that a BTech student should have had 4 courses in physics related areas before he can join the master's program in physics. Now, a lot of places, including IITs, the BTech program does not allow that flexibility to do 4 courses in physics. But a person who does a minor in physics would be able to do a basket of 4 courses in physics during that same 4 years. So, apart from his own background in, say, electrical engineering, he will have a minor degree in physics. And so a minor is just a sequence of 3-4 courses, which is very easy to accomplish by taking up a combination of departmental courses as well as other elective courses. And we also have this option of doing a double major. For instance, a person is pursuing a BTech in, for instance, in aerospace engineering, and he is also interested in computer science for some instance, and he's unable to get a branch change from aerospace to computer science. Now, doesn't mean that he's stuck there for good. He can also opt for a double major at the end of the 3rd year, in which by spending an extra year in IIT Kanpur, he can get a 2nd degree in computer science. So he will have a degree in aerospace as well as in computer science. So a double major allows you to graduate with 2 major degrees by spending 1 extra year, but both degrees are undergrad degrees. Both will be a BTech. And then you also have a dual degree in which a BTech student can also opt for a MTech program, which I told you earlier that at the end of the 3rd year. And we also have choices of modular courses. See, there are many specialized topics in which it's almost next to impossible to offer a course which can last for 40 lectures, 42 lectures. So there is now a flexibility in the program that courses are offered which are only 20 lecture courses. Like, for instance, you as instructors are interested in, say, some partial differential equations, and you want to offer a course which is, say, partial differential equations for engineers. So you are not interested in the background of maybe partial differential equations, you are interested in applications of those partial differential equations, how an engineer may be able to use. Or you are testing out waters, that before I offer a full-fledged course, I want to see whether I have sufficient material to be able to teach a full-fledged course by offering a modular course. And these are interesting courses which are usually in the form of an elective, and so this is roughly the breakup of different courses which a BTech or a undergrad student does in IIT Kanpur. If you notice from this table, there is only 1/3 of the total course component which is devoted to the department. If you look at out here, there is a department core, there are department elective. So typically about 35% of the time an undergrad student spends within the department. Rest of the time, if you see that there are a lot of courses in humanities and social sciences, where we have courses on languages, we have courses on psychology, and there are courses on economics, there are courses on communication skills. Then as part of this first 2-year core, they also do a lot of courses in science departments. And there are these compulsory engineering science option courses, engineering science core courses. So what one is aiming for is that one is creating a personality which is well-rounded, has an appreciation of different subjects other than that person's own subject also. This is something which we feel very proud of, and I think you can, if you do have a say in developing the curriculum at your institutes, you should insist that it's important not just to learn your own subject, it's also important to learn what other subjects have to offer. And at an undergrad level, possibly it is the best time for a student to learn. And of course, there are these open electives which allow a person to do a minor or develop a specialization in something which he or she is interested in. And we follow something what is called as a 7-point grading scale, or 6-point grading scale as somebody call it. There are a lot of at times criticism of it, and depending on the performance in a course, a student can obtain a grade which can be A star, A, B, C, D, E or F. And the performance in every course is just based on this. Your institutes may also be following the same grading pattern, but slowly what we have found is that across the world people are moving to a 1-point scale, in the sense that the difference between each of these, this one is 2 points, but slowly people are going in for a more elaborate scale, in which instead of these 7 scales there are about 10 points, in which the gradation is every 1 point. So you have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. That perhaps allows for a better distribution of students across the different grades. This typically shows you a template, a course template of a 4-year program, in this case chemical engineering. And if you see that first year courses are something which are common to all departments. So you have Maths 101, ESC 101, Chem 101, PHY 101. Then you also have PE 101, which is physical education, and then you also have courses on English. And first year courses are entirely common across departments. So you will find that usually the classes are held in large classrooms in which about 450 students. So we take in about 827 students a year in our undergrad program through JEE. Out of this 827, all of them have to do these courses in the first year. And so typically the class size in first year you will find is of the order of half of 827, because the largest classroom we have on our campus is about 600 students. We can't accommodate all 827 at one go. So we have about 410, 20 students sitting in one classroom at a time. Many of these courses are offered across different semesters. Like for instance, in our physics department, PHY 103, if it's offered in an odd semester, that is first semester, it will also be offered in the next semester. So if somebody is unable to do it in the first semester for some reason, he can do it the next time. Our course credit requirements are based on the amount of contact hours a course has and the amount of time a student has to spend preparing for that course. For instance, typically a UG course would consist of 3 contact hours for lectures. That means there is classroom teaching of 3 hours in which the instructor delivers a lecture. So each lecture is typically 3 credits. So that means if a lecture has 3 lectures, it would imply that there are 9 credits due to lectures. If there is a tutorial, then T is for tutorial hours. So in this case, it would imply that there are 2 tutorial hours, and P is for laboratory hours. Tutorial hours are usually there for the core professional courses, in which usually the problems faced by the students as well as discussion of different problem sets which were given to students are discussed. And A stands for some additional number of hours which a student may be expected to put in solving assignments, carry out projects to do that. So typically you will find that course credits range from 5 to 12 in a given course, and a student may register for 35 to 65 credits in every semester. This flexibility of 35 to 65 credits is based on your own workload requirements. Suppose I am a poor student and I feel that I am unable to do 6 courses at a time. So I have this flexibility of choosing lesser number of courses in a given semester, so as to enable me to do well in the courses which I am doing. So much so for the UG programs. Let me come to the PG programs. So as I told you that we have about 2,700 students in our PG programs, and primarily these programs are PhD, and recently we have started PhD programs in some departments. We have photonic science and engineering program, which is only a PG program, doesn't have an undergrad degree. Then we also have a design program in which we started a PhD in 2014, and we also have a PhD in earth sciences, which was also started in 2014. In 2017, we started a new program called as cognitive sciences. Now this is a program, interdisciplinary program, in which people from humanities, computer science, and maybe electrical have come together and started this new program. I don't know much about cognitive science, but I understand that it's a very upcoming area in which there are a lot of opportunities which are available. So we have about 1,600 students pursuing PhD at IIT Kanpur. And these PhD students, as part of their training, also do help us as teaching assistants for different courses. See, many of you would have, I understand, that have done PhD at IIT Kanpur. So at least I know in physics department, for instance, many PhD students, not many, I should say, all PhD students have to be a teaching assistant in some course or the other, at least for 3.5 years. And it is part of the training exercise. A lot of PhD students, they complain while being a PhD student that it's a waste of their time. But we believe that it's part of a training exercise, that tomorrow if you have to be a teacher, it's better to get used to it now than get used to it later. So apart from that, we have about 800 students in the MTech program. We have about 30 students in MDes. And we also have about 32 students in what we call as a MSc PhD dual degree program, which is only currently being offered only by the physics department. This is again to keep up with the changing times and to compete with other institutions like ICERS and ISC Bangalore, because they all have such programs. We also have MBA program in which about 70 odd students are there. Recently, we have also started a program which is called as a MS by Research program. This is largely for people who have some job experience. Like for instance, it's possible that somebody may have a 2-year job experience but is unable to clear GATE exam, right? So we have this program which also allows one to do a MS by Research program, and it's also meant for people who are working on projects within the campus. So like for instance, suppose I have a project from SCRB for 3 years. Now, why would somebody want to work on a project? Because it's a temporary position, right? So inducement for that is that the person, I can encourage him that you register for MS by Research. So while he is working on the project, he can also get an additional qualification of MS by Research. Like I don't know, some of you may be familiar with, there used to be a program earlier in many places called MPhil degree, right? A 1-year program of MPhil. So usually a lot of times the people who used to go in for MPhil programs are the ones who are not very sure whether they want to do a PhD, or the ones who are unable to get into PhD. So MS by Research program also works in something similar manner, that somebody is undecided whether they want to pursue a PhD and they want to just test the water by spending some time on it. Then we also have a program called VLFM. It's called Visionary Leadership for Manufacturing. This is run in conjunction with some other IITs and IIMs. This is a program which is largely catering to mid-career executives in companies. It is a mishmash of engineering plus management education. It's largely offered by industrial and management engineering. So unlike the UG admissions which take place only through JEE, which are centralized, PG admissions are typically done twice a year. In every semester we admit students for the PhD program. So we offer admissions during May and we offer admission during December, and these students do join for these programs. And for PhD, you saying something? For PhD, the course requirements are much less because we assume that you already have done a lot of groundwork while doing your BTech and MTech degrees. And all students who join the PhD program are offered a stipend of 25,000 in the first 2 years. And once they clear a comprehensive exam, basically a comprehensive exam is a kind of a clearance that your candidacy for PhD is approved. So you are ready to pursue a PhD, and that time your stipend gets enhanced to 28,000. And after that, you're supposed to deliver what is called as a state-of-the-art seminar, in which it's expected that you have done some homework as to the research problem you are going to embark on, and basically tell your peer group that this is what I'm going to work on for my PhD. And before you allowed to submit your PhD thesis, you also have to deliver an open seminar in which you basically tell the audience about the work which you have accomplished as part of your PhD, and collect feedback from a peer group, and are allowed to submit a PhD after that. And our PhD theses are usually sent outside the institute for evaluation. So currently we send it out to 3 examiners, 2 outside the country and 1 within the country, to get feedback on the quality of work done. And after we receive that feedback, a person is allowed to defend their thesis. MTech program is a 4-semester program and usually involves clearing a GATE exam. And the course requirements, there is typically it's expected that you will do 2 semesters of coursework and 1 full year of research work. So this is a degree which is partially by coursework and partially by research. And we do pay a stipend for 4 semesters, and the thesis evaluation is internal, and it's conducted within the campus. And let me come to my last slide. And I think you might have already been bored by a lot of statistics. This is just to give you an idea that that slowly but steadily the number of postgraduate students graduating from IITs are increasing, and we are slowly trying to turn ourselves into a more research and PG centric educational institution. Yeah. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer these. So yes, there is a program which is run through AICTE. It's called as a quality improvement program. So our experience of quality improvement program is as follows. See, there are 2 streams in which people usually come for a quality improvement program. One is that people who have joined a job after the BTech and they want to do a MTech. Fortunately, the colleges allow you to take leave for 2 years for that, and which fits in very well with the MTech program of IIT Kanpur because it's a 2-year program. Unfortunately, for the PhD part, the QIP program allows you to 3 years to complete your PhD. And in 3 years, see, suppose you have had a long break from studies. It's almost next to impossible to complete your PhD within that 3-year period, because about a semester or 2 semesters goes in completing your coursework. And our experience has been that people who have had a long break from academics, they usually take some time to get used to the coursework. So they usually go on a slow learning program. So it's almost next to impossible to do a PhD in that 3-year program. So I personally don't encourage people to do a PhD under that QIP, but there is an alternate program. We allow people to do a PhD part-time. So we do get a lot of people from within and around Kanpur who try to pursue PhD part-time, because part-time allows you that flexibility of kind of do your coursework, and then you can work on weekends, you can interact with your supervisor once a week, and if your work doesn't involve too many experiments, you can always get some interaction time and get some feedback. But now the government is going to start a new fellowship scheme for graduates from IITs. It's called as the Prime Minister's Research Fellowship, and it's going to start from this year 2018, and it's going to be very lucrative in the sense that stipends are of the order of 70 to 90,000 rupees. It will offer a research grant every year of 2 lakh rupees, and you can practically do PhD in any IIT you want. But you must have graduated from IIT in last 5 years. You can, even NITs for instance, but you can do a PhD only at IITs, NIT, you can do a PhD at, you can be a graduate of NITs, ISC, ICERS, NICERS, but you can pursue a PhD only at IITs. Huh.
Nowadays,
Huh.
courses are increasing,
Huh.
like but what about the future of this courses?
Like, means you have some specific this one in mind?
Yeah, like MTech energy, PhD energy. But जब जॉब की बात आती है सर तो वो कंसीडर नहीं किया जाता। ऐसे बहुत सारे कोर्सेज हैं।
नहीं, see, he has a very valid point. For instance, IIT Jodhpur
Yeah, IIT Jodhpur and IIT Bhopal, IIT Bombay.
has energy center. So see, see a lot of these programs are driven by where the money is. है ना? See, government tomorrow announces 30,000 crores worth of projects for solar energy. So these are buzzwords and people will jump onto that bandwagon. है ना? See, we are all human beings. And one of the metrics which is used for evaluating a faculty is always how much money you bring in. You will find that soon. है ना? So one of the metrics would be how much funding you have brought. Now, unless you talk about something which is very hot. See, suppose like everybody knows energy is a very hot topic. It's not that people were not working on energy earlier. See, it's like nano. Okay. See, see, people used to work on nano in 60s also, 70s also. But then government came up with this idea of nano mission, in which anybody who writes a 2-page proposal will get few crores. So everybody started adding nano to their CVs. Many of you would have done PhDs in nano maybe, right? So see, you have to decide. Nobody forced somebody to do a PhD in energy. है ना? See, if I look at energy, I can come in from very different backgrounds. I can come in as a chemist. I can look at, say, energy storage. I can work on batteries. Or I can come in from an electrical engineering point of view, where I can be working on distribution of energy, grids, and so on. है ना? Or I could be working on solid state lighting. But unless, see, the hindrance is not energy, that you have a degree in energy. Hindrance usually is that how much you know of the core subjects. See, if you are doing a PhD in energy, doesn't mean that you should only read about energy. You have to have some perspective about the core subjects which form that energy discipline. So you may do a post graduation in energy, but you would have had some undergrad experience in some other stream, na? Which should form your core.
जब PhD मिलते नहीं थे तब तो ठीक था कि कुछ भी आ जाए. अब जब मिल रहे हैं उनको कोर ब्रांचेस के कि थर्मल एंड मैकेनिकल, तो सर वहाँ पे तो कंसीडर ही नहीं हो रहे हैं.
नहीं, but see, you have to reinvent yourself, na? For instance, you gave an example of thermal, है ना? See, one of the major problems of these solar panels is heat dissipation. See, a lot of energy which we collect as sunlight, खत्म कर रहा हूँ. Lot of energy which we collect as sunlight is lost as heat energy, right? And heat is detrimental to all electronics, right? See, if I take a PN junction, which is my building block of a solar cell, and this PN junction is going to operate at, say, 20 degrees centigrade, or it is going to operate at 50 degrees centigrade, performance is going to be very different. See, when you have peak summer in North India, doesn't mean that there is more sunlight, you will get more energy. As the temperatures go up, energy efficiency of solar cells keep going down. So there is a problem of thermal dissipation. So if you can come up with the technology, or you can sell some idea that I can solve the thermal management of a solar cell, you are in business.